Welcome back, or hello if you're new. And my name is Milo, and welcome to another video. And finally, after so long, I'm continuing the 100 book bucket list series where basically I get a book off this list and I read it. I was originally planning on doing, I think, the Odyssey, but instead, now I am doing Dracula by Bram Stoker. And as you can see, I have already started it. I'm listening to it on an audiobook, this one specifically, because, well, for one, this writing is really small and dense, so I have a hard time reading it, and I tend to listen to audiobooks in general when it comes to classics. So it's because it's just easier for me, because obviously this was written in the 1800s. This is actually technically my second time reading Dracula. I remember that I started it in year 6 when I was 11, but I never finished it because for some reason every time I reached the end of a library book thing, when you have to return it, for some reason I didn't bother renewing it even though I hadn't finished it yet. So technically speaking, well, nothing technical, I don't know how it ends. I listened to the first chapter last night and I continued the second and third chapter today, just this morning, and I'm going to do a spoiler reading vlog. Now, every time I say this, the video ends up being 35 minutes long, but this will probably be shorter in comparison to when I did the reading vlog on the Secret History, because obviously I'll be listening to the audiobook mostly, and also I'm recording this on my phone because my camera's still broken and I haven't gotten a new one yet. And obviously my phone is where I'll be listening to the audiobook, so it will be difficult to go back and forth between actually just listening to it and recording. Pardon me. But, if you don't want spoilers because you haven't read it yet and you want to read it for yourself, come back after you've read it, because but if you don't care about spoilers or have already read it, continue as you will. Last time I read this, I was 11, so probably shouldn't have been reading it because I was 11. So it has been 7 years since I last looked at Dracula. So naturally I don't remember as many things as someone else would. I don't remember at all Jonathan Harker's journal, but this is entirely possible that because it was a book that I checked out in the library in my primary school, that there was a watered down version, so it was appropriate for 11-year-olds. I don't know, because I haven't seen that copy of it since I returned it. So I gotta say, when 3 young, obviously, vampires showed up, I was not expecting it. Also, the way they describe feeding off of people, obviously Jonathan, who's I guess the main character so far, I think there's multiple main characters, doesn't know that it's feeding yet, but the way that the vampires describe feeding is loving. It sounds like, the way it reads, it sounds like Dracula is in love with the Jonathan. Basically, the 3 maidens have tried to attack him, Jonathan, and then Dracula's shown up and has pushed them away and then exclaimed, "How dare you touch him, any of you? How dare you cast eyes on him when I had forbade it? Back, I tell you all, this man belongs to me. Beware how you meddle with him, or you'll have to deal with me." And then one of the women says, "You yourself never loved, you never love." And then Dracula says, "Yes, I too can love, you yourself can tell hurt from the past. Is it not so? Well, now I promise you that when I am done with him, you shall kiss him who will. Now go, I must awaken him for his work to be done." It sounds like Dracula's in love with Jonathan, and I don't know if that's just because in, obviously, modern day, vampires are generally not seen as threatening anymore and is much more romanticized. But that sounds like flirting. I will come back with you for updates later, because I am obviously just about to start chapter 4, and in the meantime, I'm gonna get changed because I've realized this dress is too big for me now. So, see you in a bit. Okay, so quick updates. First off, did change. Why is it that baggy dresses make me uncomfortable, but I'm fine in baggy t-shirts? I don't know. Some psychology thing here. I finished chapter 4, and I was wrong. He did know he was about to get his blood sucked, and also Dracula is on his way to London, and Jonathan's definitely going to get killed by the 3 women. Who knows? We're about to start letters from Miss Mina Murray to Miss Lucy Westenra. I remember Lucy, if I remember correctly, from the last time I read this. She's the one who gets bit first and becomes a vampire. But yeah, that's basically it. A short update. Lucy's voice actor narrator. What do you call someone who narrates audio, but it doesn't necessarily matter, but it's kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. I guess it's a good thing she gets turned into a vampire later. But basically, she's got a crush on this Mr. Holmwood, who's in charge of the asylum that's probably on Dracula's. Who am I kidding? It's going to be on Dracula's property. So, interesting development. Okay, I mixed it up. The person she has a crush on has a friend who runs the asylum. This friend, John Stewart, does have a thing for Lucy, but she doesn't like him. So she rejected his proposal. But now they're friends. She's very much so in love with Arthur, not John Stewart. So it is later in the day, and I'm halfway-ish through it, and I wanted to say this earlier, but we went out, so ended up not doing that, sorry. They described Dracula when he was on the boat sailing in. They put him up in some... If you've seen the original Nosferatu, they do the exact same thing, kind of, where they've put him in a crate, probably a coffin, like a box, and transported him from a ship from Transylvania to England, and slowly caused all the men to throw themselves over, or throw the men over himself. But the way they described him was that he was very tall, very thin, and very pale. And I'm just thinking, some men have some inspiration we didn't know about. But another thing is that he very blatantly shapeshifted into a dog to leave the ship and go on to England. So I'm just thinking Bram Stoker got some inspiration not just from vampires, but seemingly werewolves as well, because werewolves have come up a couple of times in this. Yeah, but besides that, halfway through, Lucy has died and has most likely turned into a vampire, since there's been multiple children who have been kidnapped, disappear for a night, and then show up the next morning with markings on their neck, the standard 2 mark thing, and they're just saying that a lady led them astray. So yeah, she's probably a vampire. And Van Helsing was Lucy's doctor, the asylum guy. Was his student, so he brought Van Helsing over to help with Lucy. It didn't really work because, well, a lot of interference with many different things. And Van Helsing is now talking to Mina, which is Jonathan didn't die, actually, which surprised me. He ended up in a hospital, which how that happened, I don't know. I don't think we'll ever know, but yeah, he ended up in hospital. Him and Mina got married, and so now they're back in England. Jonathan's obviously seen Dracula, and now Mina is meeting with Van Helsing to discuss stuff that happened to Lucy, and then also she's bringing up the stuff that happened to Jonathan while he was in Transylvania. And yeah, that's kind of it. Gotta be completely honest, it's a lot more drawn out than I thought it would be, because the entire thing is explained through letters or newspapers or telegrams, and so there's nothing in the moment, like, at all. When Lucy was dying / turning into a vampire, they gave her a lot of blood transfusion, which I'm assuming is just a side effect of blood transfusions just coming into like relevancy when the book was written. But I found that just the overuse of everyone doing a blood transfusion but only being able to do one person, then you can't do another person ever again, which obviously is not how blood transfusions actually work. But yeah, to tell you, slightly bored, but hey ho, it's better than The Secret History, I can tell you that much. So I have been adding book characters to Tomodachi Life. Every main character that I've in every single book I read. So now we're going to add Mina from Dracula. The reason I'm adding Mina, not one of the boys, is because, well, I've got too many male me's currently, so I figured adding her would be the best thing. I'll be back with you when I've finished her face. And there she is. I put her hair up because I figured it would make more sense with a Victorian lady. I put her maiden name because obviously Jonathan doesn't exist in Tomodachi Life, so it makes more sense to me for it to be her maiden name. Nope, forgot the A. There we go. Right, so this is Mina. I've got her favorite color is black because I didn't think, but I didn't know why, because there's not really a specific thing of what is or isn't her favorite color. I've got her birthday as the 18th of September because the book was published in 1897, and obviously I can't have, and I couldn't put it as anything else, and obviously 97 isn't a day, because months are just foregone the 7. And I've got it as 1993 because that is when my edition of the book was published. Got a thing as that because I want to try and keep the voices unique. But you know, I've got, and this is what I did for energy, speech, and facial expression. She's a book character, so obviously I've got her as her facial expressions being very flat. I've got a mood here, and then I've got her as pretty normal, which I don't generally do for me's, but so we'll see what this is. Ooh, this is a new one. Fun. I'm cautious, seemingly indifferent. Extremely shy, doesn't show much emotion, but there is a lot going on deep down. I don't know if that's necessarily good for her character or not, but it certainly will be an interesting mix with my other me's. Oh, it's a new picture too. And that was Mina. Thank you for joining my impromptu Tomodachi Life Let's Play. I'll get back to you, and I'll see you whenever I see you. I will be stopping for the night because it's late and I'm tired. I have about just over 5 hours and 20 minutes left on the audiobook, and I am, I think, just over 100 pages to the end of the book now, and I've got to say I'm kind of underwhelmed, which is slightly sad, I guess, but I knew the book was a lot. I've never seen a movie adaptation of Dracula, but obviously the character of Dracula has been played up so much that I expected him to be in the story more. But yeah, besides that, there's been, casual sexism because it's an 1800s book and it's annoying. There's been a running plot of one of the characters, Dr. Stu, remember his name by now. Dr. Seward, who runs the, or at the very least works in the lunatic asylum, and one of his patients very blatantly, at some point or other, seemed to worship Dracula at this point. And we've just had a conversation with this patient, demanding to be set free and seeming more sane than he has in the entirety of his stay at the asylum. So right now my only theory is that he was being controlled by Dracula to do his bidding, or at least attempting to do something to do with hypnosis. And now Dracula's going to kill him. I don't know how true that is, but we'll see in the morning. Yeah. For now, I'm gonna, watch YouTube and then go to bed. I'll see you in a bit. It is the next morning. I've finished the next chapter, and Mina's been bit. Obviously. I haven't said it yet, but she's having wet dreams, she's got red eyes looming over her, she's definitely been bit. So, to that I say, shows the men for leaving her out. Because clearly, she's more competent than they give her credit for. And she shouldn't have been left out in the first place. So, I was right, the insane patient did get attacked. And now he's paralyzed and his back's broken. Okay, so I have now finished Dracula, and gotta tell you, I was definitely underwhelmed. To say, the formatting of it being multiple different like diary entries and like newspaper clippings and all of that, that's always fun. I like that in a book, and this is probably one of the earliest examples of that, though please correct me if I'm wrong. But overall, it was really drawn out, and the characters weren't that interesting. Dracula was barely in it, basically, and I would have much preferred it if he was in it more, and then he seemed like more of a threat. I mean, when Lucy was becoming a vampire, that was definitely very threatening, but Dracula himself wasn't really that intimidating, bar like the first couple of entries of Jonathan's diary. And also the big ending thing, it ended with a fight against gypsies, not a fight against Dracula, because he was in a coffin already, which assumedly asleep. So again, underwhelming. So overall, I'm rating this 3 stars. Slightly disappointing in all honesty, because I really want to enjoy classics, because obviously they've become classics for a reason, but hey ho, then not for everyone. But anyway, now we will be rubbing out Claire. Thematic, I suppose. And with that concludes this reading vlog. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for my reading wrap up for May will probably be the next video out, if it's not out already. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.